Heads up, the LG C6H OLED I have behind me right now is an excellent TV from a picture quality standpoint. The user experience, however, needs a little bit of help. So today we're gonna talk about all the settings that you wanna change on this TV. Some of it is picture quality related, we'll get you dialed in there. A lot of it though has to do with making the user experience better. And there is one particular setting. If there is no other setting that you change on this TV, there's one that you absolutely must change. So let's talk about that. Welcome back, everyone. I'm gonna get to the most important setting to change in a moment, but we have to start at the beginning because this is something everyone overlooks. This TV has been reset like it came from the factory. So it's like we're setting it up for the first time, just like you will be at home. This is where you have to agree to the terms and conditions, and there are only 2 of these that you have to accept. But if you don't accept some of the others, there's 3 more, they say you'll lose access to features and encourage you to opt in. If not now, they're gonna bring this up later. Like, to unlock this feature, you have to say yes to these. Just read the fine print. I know we just want to get to watching TV, but read the fine print. Now, I will point out the TV doesn't have a built-in mic turned on by default, and you have to press the mic button on the remote for the TV to do any voice recognition. But still, there's some stuff here you're going to want to read. You can run an AI picture wizard that'll ask you a bunch of questions and try and get you a picture that you like. I don't particularly care for it, so here's what we're gonna do. See that ad up there? We're gonna have to fix that. Anyway, for now, we're gonna start with picture settings, and we wanna do that by getting it out of its auto power save picture mode. First thing we're gonna do is go into an HDMI port. I happen to have an Apple TV box connected to HDMI 1. If we try to do picture settings from the home screen, a bunch of options are gonna be locked out, so we don't wanna do that. So first things first, start with an HDMI port. Now, it's important that we start with SDR because picture settings are separate for HDR and also Dolby Vision. I'll talk about that in a moment, but let's start with the basics with SDR. First off, you're gonna press the settings cog wheel on the remote control and then resist the urge to click any of this stuff here and go straight to the picture settings cog in the upper left. You're gonna wanna do that because this is how we get to all the settings, and we're going to be going through all of the settings today. Now, if I go into picture and I select picture mode here, you can see that we're in the auto power save by default. I am gonna go down to filmmaker mode because that is gonna require the least amount of adjustment for me. ISF bright and ISF dark are also high quality, but if you like the cooler look of standard, no judgment here, that's fine. We're just gonna wanna continue to make adjustments from whichever we do. With standard, you might wanna defeat soap opera effect. With filmmaker mode, I don't have to do that, it's already done. So already we've gotten to a picture mode that looks better than auto power save mode. Now this next setting is the most important setting in my opinion. If you do not want your TV's brightness to be capped, you need to make this change. Again, you hit the settings cog icon on the remote and again on the screen cog, and then we're gonna go down to system, which is also cogs, of course, and then energy savings. And then we want to go to energy saving step. It's going to be set to auto, which is minimum brightness. We need to turn this off. And instantly you're going to notice that the TV will get brighter no matter which picture mode you're in. Again, this makes sure that your TV's brightness is not capped at any time. Speaking of brightness, let's actually get into some picture settings now. We're going to go down to advanced settings in the picture section, and we'll start with brightness. OLED pixel brightness is set to 80. This is SDR. If you want your OLED TV to be as bright as it can possibly be, then you can jack this up to 100. For the sake of Zeke's sanity, I'm gonna keep it tamed down just a little bit so that we don't have to constantly adjust exposure. On contrast though, I would actually recommend that you reduce this to either 90 or 85, because in this 85 to 90 range, we preserve highlights and we don't crush blacks. Leave the black level alone, keep auto dynamic contrast off if you ask me. Peak brightness, this is a personal decision. If you want this TV to get super bright, low, medium, high, as you can all see, will punch up the brightness of this TV. In SDR, it just makes it brighter in general. In HDR, it changes the way it handles HDR highlights. I am gonna leave this off for now, but if I ever felt like I needed the TV to be brighter, this is where I'd go first. Peak brightness after I maxed out the pixel brightness. Color, skip it. There is nothing you can do in here that's going to make the TV better. You already picked a picture mode that has a color temperature that you like. LG does a great job of tuning the color from there. Anything you do in the color section is probably going to do more harm than good. Now for clarity. There's nothing to change here, in my opinion, in the filmmaker mode, but let's go to standard mode so I can show you how to turn off soap opera effect if you want. So we're now in the standard picture mode. We're going to go back into advanced settings and clarity. And then we're going to scroll down to the bottom where we find true motion. This is the motion smoothing section of the TV. Now, if you like soap opera effect, natural is sort of a medium version of that. Smooth movement is the extreme version of soap opera effect. Cinematic movement adds just enough to reduce judder and stutter, but I still think it has a little bit too much of that smoothing for me. So I like to go to user selection. I'll bring this de-blur down to about 1 or 2 to start. And then de-judder, I'm gonna bring up to 1 or 2. Then I'm gonna experiment. If I find that it has a little bit too much smoothing, I'm gonna reduce the de-judder down to 1. If it's still stuttering a little too much to me, I might bump it up to 3, but this is the range I like to work in. Do not turn on OLED motion. That is called black frame insertion, and your TV will flicker like crazy, as you just saw. Now, this clarity section is something you may have to adjust in Dolby Vision. If you get Dolby Vision IQ by default, you can go to Dolby Vision Dark, and that'll turn off your motion smoothing. But Dolby Vision IQ will have soap opera effect on, so you're gonna wanna go in here and make that same adjustment if you like. One more thing from the picture menu before we apply this to all of our inputs. Under aspect ratio, click that. You want to go to just scan and turn this to on. I can't tell you exactly why. I can just tell you that Classy Tech Calibrations recommended it, and I don't question his advice. Now, here's a cheat code. You can go into advanced settings and click apply to all inputs, and that will set your preferred picture settings for all HDMI inputs. If you do not want it applying to all inputs, let's say you want your Blu-ray player to be in filmmaker mode, but your cable box to be in standard mode, make sure you do that for each individual HDMI input. Also, remember, all we've done here is adjust for SDR. We could put on a piece of HDR content and make picture mode adjustments from there. It's the same basic process, just with different formats. So that's the crash course on picture settings. Now I want to get into some usability stuff. So we're going to go into general. Next thing we're going to do is go into accessibility. You can skip this part if you want, but because there's no mute button and no input button on the remote, I want to customize the little heart button in the upper right-hand corner of the remote. Right now, a short press causes it to mute. I'm going to change that and make it pull up our input list so I can get to my HDMI inputs faster. And then the press and hold version for that heart button, I'm gonna go ahead and set to mute because I also find that to be a helpful feature. But as you can see, there are several different options you have. You can have that heart button go straight to live TV if you want to. You can have it go straight to any one of your HDMI inputs if you want to. Sky's the limit. I'm gonna go with input list and mute because that's the most handy to me. When you back out of this, it's gonna ask if you wanna exit the app, you say yes. Next is always ready. This is a tricky one because what it does is when you press the power button to turn off the TV, it doesn't turn off, it goes into sort of a standby mode that will either show your wallpaper or not show your wallpaper. Even if it doesn't show wallpaper, it might show something like the time. If you want to have that function on, that's great. If not, if you want your TV to go off when you press the power button, enable the function off in always ready. Always ready is a little bit tricky because it is kind of cool to press the power button and end up getting a screensaver that's basically a clock. Or maybe LG's wallpaper. You can always tell it not to use wallpaper here if you want to. That's what I usually do. But if you want power button to mean off, turn this off and the TV will actually turn off when you press the power button. Moving on from always ready is channels. This is if you want to tune your live TV using an antenna. If you're not using an antenna, just skip it. Usage care is fun to take a look at how long you've used the TV and what that kind of uses look like, how much time you've spent on live TV versus HDMI 1, for example. Fun, but not really helpful. OLED care, though, has a setting we want to adjust. Let's go to OLED panel care and adjust logo brightness and turn this off. Again, Classy Tech Calibration suggested this for picture accuracy. However, if you do a lot of gaming, or if you watch one channel all day, something like CNN or the Weather Channel, something that has a little bug in the corner, leave that on. It'll help prevent burn-in. Next after that is AI service. Don't turn any of this on. I don't like any of the AI processing that's available here, so just leave it alone. AI service brightness settings is going to adjust according to the environment and the content, and that is something that I do not prefer. I prefer to have more control over my brightness, so just skip AI service entirely. Finally, we have Game Optimizer. This applies only to gaming, as if you're using a console or a PC and actually in the game. Only then do you want to make any adjustments to Game Optimizer. So for now, we skip. That gets us through general. Now we're going to go to system. Network is self-explanatory. It's how you connect to Wi-Fi. External devices. If we go in here, we can go down to HDMI settings, and 444 pass-through is basically for people using a high-end gaming PC, or if you're in production work, video production work. Quick media switching you can turn on if you want there to be no dropouts when you go from, say, a 24 FPS movie to a 60 hertz game. I'll let you decide if you want to do that. One thing I do want you to go and consider is whether you have HDMI CEC on or off. If you're having trouble getting your equipment to talk to each other, this is how you turn off CEC to find out if it is the culprit. I don't like the fact that they buried it so deep in here. Energy saving we dealt with right away, so we can skip that. Language, skip it. Location. You want to enable location if you want certain things like the weather for your location to work. I'll show you that in just a moment. What we really want to do is get into additional settings. Here is where some very important stuff is buried. Quick Start Plus is actually pretty simple. If you turn this on, the TV is going to turn on faster because it's in a standby mode. It consumes a little bit more electricity. If you turn it off, it'll use less electricity, but it'll take longer to turn on. So I just leave this on. Home settings. This is a big one. First off, power on screen. This is where you can choose to have it open up to a recent input like HDMI 1 and our Apple TV instead of the LG OS home screen. This helps you effectively bypass LG webOS home screen and always tune into the most recent input you used, whether it's our Apple TV here or maybe your Blu-ray player. But now we're going to get serious. Home promotion, turn it off. This is going to help hide some of the sponsored advertisements that will appear in your home screen menu. Content recommendation. I'm also going to turn this off. I can't remember the last time content recommendation offered me something I actually wanted to watch. I will say Google TV did that once, but I don't need to rely on that with webOS. Now we go into screensaver settings. Remember those ads we saw on the screensaver? This is how you turn them off, right there. You can also change the amount of time it takes for it to go to screensaver here. Settings help I actually find helpful because I don't know what half of these things do without the help button. So go ahead and leave that on. Wake on presence and sleep on absence basically wakes the TV up when you walk in and puts it to sleep if you've been out for a certain amount of time. I've had more than just a few people come through and call this feature creepy, so I keep it off on my TV. I'll let you make your own decision. The standby light on this TV is tiny. It's right down at the bottom center, but if you don't like that little red light, turn it off. As for pointer options, I do not like the Magic Motion remote. I wish it didn't exist. I don't care how big or small the pointer is or how fast it is. And here is another really big one for privacy. Thankfully, it is off by default. But look at what it says here. By turning Live Plus on, you understand that the content displayed on your TV can be recognized, and the viewing information may be used to provide you with an enhanced viewing experience and personalized services, including content recommendation and advertisements. Please review the privacy policy and relevant user agreements in the TV settings menu for more information. You know what this tells me? There's a bunch of stuff I don't want to read, and it's collecting data I don't want it to collect. I'm leaving it off. I'm just happy it was off by default. You know, Zeke just asked a really important question. Can you turn off the Magic Motion part of the remote? The answer is no. And that's been one of my huge frustrations since I've started using LG TVs with this remote. See, here's a whole guide on using the Magic Motion remote, but what you'll notice is none of it talks about how to turn it off. Okay, we have now gone through all of the major settings on this TV that I want you to pay attention to. There is one more thing. While you're on the home screen, I want you to press left until this screen comes up. Notice how it says user agreements. You do not get to play with the widgets on this particular screen unless you agree to the stuff that you didn't agree to before. See, we're back. I have to go and turn these on if I want to use the widgets. I'm going to go ahead and turn them on so that you can see what happens when we do, and we can see the widgets, and I'll let you decide if it's worth agreeing to all that stuff to get these widgets. We've got a clock, we've got a calendar, the weather is available, and then there's a bunch of stuff that you don't want. Let's go ahead and take a look at widgets that we can add. No space. Well, then we better delete a few. So let's delete recommendations. Yes. Let's also delete Prime Video. Yes, I'm definitely not going to need it for music. Fortunately, the sponsored ad widget is not here because we disabled that earlier. Now, whether you want these at all or not really just depends on you. Just remember, you're going to have to agree to a bunch of terms and conditions and read through those if you want these widgets. And I'm not sure it's worth it. I know, that was a lot. And that's kind of my point. If you want the excellent picture quality that you can get with an LG OLED, you also kind of have to deal with webOS. But there is a way to optimize it so that you get a much better experience, or bypass it entirely with the streaming box of your choice. Should also mention that everything that we did here today also applies to the LG G6 OLED series. Their G6 just has a few extra picture settings that we weren't able to address since they're not available on this TV. Anyway, I hope this has been helpful. If a little bit long, we went through everything I think is the most important for you. If there are any other settings that you have questions about, leave that question down in the comment section and I'll see if I can help you out. If I can't, maybe somebody else can. Like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. I'll see you on the next one. And until then, take care of yourself and your LG OLED. Heads up, the LG C6, why can't I say it? C6H